Right, Steve Hill here with another market timing update on the expert system on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Our expert system, of course, measures the price action and the volume on the New York Stock Exchange and the Dow Jones Industrial Average, along with the breadth data off of the New York Stock Exchange to generate possible turning points on the market itself. We had a cluster of three signals that I've marked here. 1, 2, and 3 were all down signals, confirmed by phase. Obviously, the first signal was a tad early, and the second signal was right there at the top. And from that period of those signals, prices moved to the downside into late September. On the 28th of September, the price action on the Dow began to turn back up, having been mostly down for that month. Price phase again was fairly flat, but did turn up and began to move up just as the signal was fired. As you can see, prices moved back to the upside quite nicely. Period here towards the middle of October where very little happened. Then we had this one long down day on the Dow on October the 26th. This triggered a 0-100 to the downside. The price phase had already turned down, confirming that signal. And of course, prices have moved down since then. Let's go back and look at the events that surrounded these last three ratings, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at when you have these ratings occur in the system. Each night when you download data into Trading Expert Pro, you'll have this market data updated for you. If we go back to the first of this cluster of ratings, 827, we can have a look at the expert system, query it, and see what rules fired. That initial expert rating was strongly to the downside because of these two major rules. The intraday high prices, they'd reached a 21-day high, but the advanced decline oscillator, which measures the advanced declines on the New York Stock Exchange, were negative. So prices have been going up, but the internal stocks were not. And this is a very strong bearish signal that is often followed by a downward price movement. The second rule that fired on that rating was intraday high prices, again 21-day high, but the up-down volume oscillator, if negative in this uptrending market, is taken as a very strong bearish signal. So both of those contributed to that high expert rating. And the phase itself, the phase was really still moving up and didn't turn down until we got the second set of expert ratings. The phase didn't turn down, confirming this, until the 1st of September. Immediately after that, on September the 3rd, we had the second of these down ratings, so 397. So we're still under the influence of the first down rating. The second one just shores up the sentiment to the downside. You can see again, this one's a little different on the rules that are fired to contribute to this high rating to the downside. The 21-day stochastic has declined below the 80% line, so that's gone from overbought heading down. The price phase indicator is decreasing in this current sideways market, which is what happened since the last signal. It's a weak bearish signal. The next one is intraday high prices of the market have increased to a 21-day high. Nevertheless, the advanced decline oscillator is negative. And again, this unusual event, strong bearish signal. And the last one, the new high, new lows indicator, that's a good one. The number of new highs versus number of new lows has reversed to the downside. And that's a reliable bearish signal, often followed by downside movement. You notice, of course, that day that fired, the market had reached its peak at that time. So from that peak, prices began to tumble from there. There was another rating the next day of 595. And when we look at the rules on that one, again, we've got a whole bunch of different things, again, that are occurring on the market itself. You can read them on the screen there. I'll just leave it up. But this is three expert ratings in a cluster like that. It is a pretty good sign that things might be changing. In this case, of course, prices then declined all the way down to this low at 924. So that's about an 1800 move on the Dow. A couple of days after that bottom there, we had a rating to the upside, 95.5. The rules that fired in this case, 21-day stochastic crossed over the 20% line, and the price phase indicator is also increasing, and the weekly downtrending market is taken as a strong bullish signal. And the second one was the volume accumulation percentage increasing, and the 21-day stochastic has moved above the 20% line. So in both of those circumstances, it's a signal things are turning around. Again, the rules we show here are just the major weighted rules. There are several other rules that would have fired to make that high rating, rating above 95 or greater. So phase has turned up in the direction of the rating. This is considered a confirmed buy. Prices went from about the 27,500 level all the way up to 28,008, so about a 1,300 point gain before we got to the top there. There was this period here where things were moving sideways, no expert ratings fired during that period, and then we had this big strong day on 10/26 when the Dow closed down strongly. In this case, it was 0-100. There's quite a few heavy rolls that have fired. In this case, the market closing price dropped below the 21-day ESA, and that's a bearish signal. The exponentially smooth advanced decline line has turned negative when the up-down volume oscillator and the advanced decline oscillator are already a negative, and that's another bearish signal. The up-down volume oscillator has turned negative when the exponentially smooth advanced decline line and the advanced decline oscillator are already negative. So that is a very similar situation to the one before. So the advanced decline oscillator on the day of the signal was already negative. And so again, the same with the advanced decline line was already negative. And the up-down volume oscillator, that was already negative on that strong down day. The high-low indicator itself wasn't mentioned. You can see why there hasn't been any sort of divergence. It's moving somewhat in sync with the price actions. So as we know, the prices have moved down, and this was recorded on 10/28, so prices today moved up a little bit. Just a reminder, the price phase needs to change direction in the direction of the expert rating within sort of 3 days of the rating itself, or it's going to be in that same direction already. And as we saw in this cluster here, there was a change a day afterwards, 2 days afterwards, and then obviously we're already in a downswing on the phase when these signals came in. So that's it for the current market. We're currently on a 0-100 confirmed to the downside.